think we should legalize prostitution.
Okay.
I have been standing on this for decades, and I think that prostitution should be legalized.
Okay.
They will never do this, but that I think would be a massive solve. And being a woman of substance and means, I can provide that for them. Now, there's things that I want in exchange for taking care of a princess boy. And, if that is what men are interested in behaving like, I feel like I can do that. I can be that person for you. I can give you an experience you've never had.
Man, say it ain't so. None other than Mrs. Peanut Butter Skin is out at Fox Sports. Now, I will say before we get started into the content, I am genuinely surprised at this outcome. Well, let me not say surprised, because men that face allegations of assault in the workplace, of promoting women that are not worthy of said promotion, but do so because she gives him the insides of her body. Typically, when men go through this, there's an immediate firing. But apparently, now what's being adopted in modern times today is what I'm going to refer to as a sensible firing, meaning the contract was supposed to renew, but they decided not to in the face of allegations and scrutiny. Let's get into the content. Joy Taylor out at Fox Sports as network cancels 3 shows from sources. Let me make this a little bit bigger so we can have a formalized conversation. Joy Taylor is out at Fox Sports as part of a series of moves that will also see the network's cable arm FS1 cancel Speak, the show Taylor co-hosts, as well as his 2 morning programs. Sources briefed on the decision told The Athletic. The 3 shows struggled to find a huge audience, prompting the cancellations, according to sources briefed on the decision. And what I find interesting about this huge audience thing is that, listen, a lot of people that get these nods to these big mainstream shows, hopefully their ego doesn't get so big as to think that people are actively watching the show each and every week because of them, as opposed to some type of different formula within the show. But then what we see now when we have decentralized media and these people are now having to compete with other people not involved in mainstream, they're finding it increasingly more difficult to be relevant because of how actually hard that it is when you don't have the push of all of these talented writers, scripters, producers, directors. It's tremendously difficult. And I think it begins to make a lot more sense if you compare the numbers that she used to receive on Fox Sports versus her own podcast show directly up on YouTube. Nevertheless, Taylor, 38, has been in the headlines over the past year as FS1 has been embroiled in harassment allegations against its former top programming executive. We're going to re-go over some of those allegations as well so that we're all caught up here. The brother's name is Charlie Dixon, all right? In one of the 2 lawsuits, Nashin Faraha, a makeup artist, accused Dixon of battery. In the suit alleged that Taylor told Faraji to get over it. Taylor denied the allegation. Dixon has been out at the network since last April. Again, man gets accused of something, directly out. Woman gets accused of something, and sensible firing. Even if the woman is not directly involved in the harassment, but is continuing to create a system around the office that adheres to or makes other women feel uncomfortable, it should be taken just as serious. Nevertheless, Taylor co-hosted Speak with Keyshawn Johnson and Paul Pierce. Taylor's contract was up and not renewed by Fox Sports after she had been with the network for nearly a decade. FS1 is also ending the morning show, Breakfast Ball, and the facility. Fox Sports declined to comment. Colin Cowherd's The Herd, which begins at noon Eastern. First Things First with Nick Wright and Chris Broussard and Kevin Wiles at 3 p.m. Eastern will continue in their time slots. FS1 will likely produce new shows in place of all of the cancellations. All 3 shows were created under Dixon. Breakfast Ball featuring Craig Carton and Mark Shkreleth and Dan Parkins. It marked Carton's second show at the network after leaving. Yada, yada, yada. Nevertheless, after all of this happened, we didn't at first see a response from Joy Taylor, but if you go and you take a look at her Instagram, this content was posted. Copyright. This content was posted 20 hours ago, a couple of sets before the beach. So she has taken a beach vacation and is posting this as a response. You know what's also interesting about this? Listen, and I hate to say it like this, but this is a fact of reality. I actually think she's got literally nothing to worry about because there'll be some executive somewhere that has seen the allegations, that understands the type of way that she moves, that she's willing to put her viscous innards on the line for a promotion, for more money, allegedly. And it's just like, you know what? We need a Joy Taylor at our network. I hate to say it, but some of these dudes' will is weak. You heard? So she gonna come in and she gonna fit into that particular narrative, however morally bankrupt and illegitimate that it is. Quick emergency meeting. I was recently searching for my name online and found way too much personal information, which brought me down this weird rabbit hole of how that could have happened, and found out that there's companies out there called data brokers that will sell your data to marketers, scammers, and even stalkers. And it's a nasty, disgusting feeling knowing that there's bad actors out there selling my information, selling your information for profit. But that's why I'm recommending today's sponsor, Aura. Now, I use Aura to automatically remove my information from these sites and keep my information off. But they do other things as well, such as bank fraud and identity theft alerts, VPN access. But guys, utilize my link down in the description box down below for a 14-day trial. At least see if you've been compromised. Privacy is king in this day and age, and you should know if your information is out there. So again, utilize my link, aura.com/MTR, in the description box down below to try 2 weeks free. That's way more than enough time to see if your personal data has been exposed. Go now.
Can we just keep it a buck? If they're fine enough, if they're funny enough, or if their financial status is what you want, fine, funny, fucking money, you're throwing all boundaries, standards, all that shit you talked on Instagram about how you would never, and this woman ain't because women this and men this, you're moving forward with this person.
And looking at more of her profile, looks like she got a host of FS1 still up on here. She may need to update that. But taking a look at the aesthetics on the profile, you can see generally the types of content that she likes to upload, continuing to demonstrate herself as the peanut butter skin that she know that she is. Let me see. When did she upload this? Oh, 20 hours ago as well. Let's listen.
Bullying. I'll tell you this. All right, give you some lines. Why do you think I'm so snappy on these internets, on these shows? You better have a comeback, and you better have a comeback quick.
1,000%.
All right, start cooking you. You better have something to say, or you are going to get cooked for weeks. You cannot sit there and take that abuse. You better fire back, and it better be quick, and it better be smart.
Absolutely. Made us better people.
I don't know.
We sound like boomers now.
We
In
are.
my age, you got beat up and you got roasted, and these kids are now soft because they didn't get beat up and bullied.
Yeah, okay. Let's see. Hopefully she does cook me. Thankfully, I'm 40 years old and from New York. I grew up in a generation of getting cooked. So I'm good at it as well. Nevertheless, you'll see down up into her comment section, folks are seemingly having fun. This has got to be one of the funniest memes, but one way to perfectly describe the allegations against her. Now, just to refresh and jog your memory, let's go over a quick reminder, a quick snippet of how we got here in the first place.
Now, Joy Taylor is also a host. She's a host for FS1, and she was the moderator for Undisputed for a few years, working closely with Bayless and Shannon. Now, she moved to another show called The Herd with Colin Cowherd on FS1 in 2018, and she's had many other hosting gigs since. Her Instagram is filled with not only reactions to some of the biggest sports news, but also glamour shots, videos where she gives advice about relationships or comments on current events. Now, Faraji says as Taylor continued to move from show to show, she had requested Faraji to continue to be her stylist. Now, the lawsuit notes that there are two other people here. There's Mark Silverman, president and COO of Fox Sports, and Eric Shanks, CEO and executive producer of Fox Sports. they could become named as defendants. They're not currently named, but they could be named as defendants as the case progresses and there's discovery in this lawsuit. Because the complaint reads, on information and belief, Mr. Silverman and Mr. Shanks approved, were made privy to, or should have been privy to, all significant employment decisions and personnel-related investigations related to misconduct and or harassment by Fox Sports executives and talent. Further, on information and belief, Mr. Silverman and Mr. Shanks, along with Fox legal team, worked hard to protect perpetrators by forcing individuals who were witnesses to or targets of misconduct and or harassment to sign non-disclosure agreements upon separation from employment. So, on January 3rd, Faraji filed this complaint, laying out what she says had happened to her during her time at Fox Sports. And according to Faraji, she had worked part-time for Fox starting in 2012 and then went full-time in 2016. During that time, she says she befriended Joy Taylor, and this was after Taylor had moved from Miami to Los Angeles for the chance to host on Fox Sports. According to Faraji, Taylor didn't have a regular position at the time, but was available to fill in when needed. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because Faraji claims that when she would go out to meet Taylor for dinner or drinks, Charlie Dixon, again, the vice president for content, was always around. And Faraji says that she didn't even know he was an executive with the company until later when she mentioned to Taylor that she'd seen that guy who always buys us drinks in the elevator. And that is when she said that Taylor shushed her, explained what Dixon's position was in the company. And Faraji believed, based on her interactions with these two people, that they were sleeping together. And when she warned Taylor that that might not be a great idea, that a relationship like that could be dangerous, Taylor allegedly told her not to worry about it. And by the way,
Banging the boss. Allegedly.
apparently both Dixon and Taylor were married at the time.
Damn.
So according to the complaint, in
Not
approximately
married.
July of 2016, word spread amongst Fox employees about a new show that was going to be a big deal as it would star Mr. Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. It was known that Fox was looking for a woman with significant TV experience to also star. Therefore, it came as a surprise when Fox announced that Miss Taylor, who is a bartender and radio host in Miami with very little TV experience, would be the moderator of the new show, a sports debate program, Skip and Shannon Undisputed. So Faraji claims that Bayless didn't want Taylor to host the show. In fact, in the lawsuit, she claims that at a dinner between Taylor and Bayless, Taylor shows up, she's dressed, and starts acting very provocatively, potentially in a way to change his opinion about her being on the show. But eventually, Bayless agreed to approve her on the show as a favor to Dixon. Okay, when the show premiered.
Now, when you hear these things about her dressing provocatively, right, when you hear unfit or not qualified for the show, and then you cross-reference that with the clips that she's come out with not too long ago on her podcast where she speaks about men, the callousness that she speaks about men, you can see that she thinks about men within her life as a tool, as a means to an end, as a way to get her from one situation to another. So to her, it's just a game, an easy game at that. So just like Jason Whitlock said, she gonna tout that peanut butter skin in those big cans. Get whatever money that she can or position that she can up out of it, allegedly.
That peanut butter skin with that big rack. Like, Jay, keep your distance. That's going to get you into trouble. And so that's what I did. I kept my distance. Because when you put some woman in a job, talking sports with a bunch of men, it's a job she's not qualified for. She's talking sports with professional athletes, people that did it at the highest level. She's talking sports with me or Colin Cowherd or other people that have like really studied sports at a super high level. What does she have to offer other than her sex appeal? And so should we be surprised that she leaned into that?
I took it a step further, as I always do, and I dubbed them princess boys because clearly they want the princess treatment. And being a woman of substance and means, I can provide that for them. Now, there's things that I want in exchange for taking care of a princess boy. And, you know, if that is what men are interested in behaving like, I feel like I can do that. I can be that person for you. I can give you an experience you've never had. So they were not very happy with me about that one.
I like the movement. I'm not going to partake. Maybe
You think the fix
One,
is?
I think we should legalize prostitution.
Okay.
I have been standing on this for decades, and I think that prostitution should be legalized.
Okay.
They will never do this, but that I think would make it would be a massive solve.
Massive solve. Okay.
One.
Is okay.
But I believe that straight male biology, and particularly men who have this sort of anger, is because they don't get physical intimacy, right? But they have convinced themselves the type of physical intimacy they would like is, their favorite porn star or favorite OnlyFans girl or this unattainable beauty on Instagram who is never, ever, ever, ever going to fuck you or meet you or talk to you ever. What's the point?
No. I want to know. Hi, my name is Candace. I'm from Rialto. Well, anyway.
We have derailed. The point is, I think intimacy is a big problem. I think men not having sex is a big problem.
But this is my
and the confidence that comes from not having physical intimacy, not having the ability to have sex, turns them into these raging psychopaths that then blame feminism and women running for presidents as the reason why society is deteriorating.
Taylor, according to Ms. Faraji, had requested that Faraji be her hairstylist, and eventually Bayless had asked her to do his hair as well. Not long after, in January of 2017, Faraji claims that she had attended a birthday party for Taylor.
Okay.
When she goes to this birthday party, she says that Dixon was there and he was drinking quite heavily. The complaint reads, as Ms. Faraji was standing near the bar facing the crowd, Mr. Dixon approached her. He asked the bartender for a drink and then placed his arm on Ms. Faraji's lower back. He asked how she was doing, if she was having fun, and if she wanted a tequila shot. Ms. Faraji felt very uncomfortable by his unsolicited touching and responded, "No, thank you." Mr. Dixon then moved his hand lower and started rubbing her body and grabbing her buttocks. Ms. Faraji was mortified, but quickly thought to fake an incoming call to escape from the situation. The complaint goes on to say Ms. Faraji did not know who to turn to, but as she knew Ms. Taylor was sleeping with Mr. Dixon, she turned to her. Surprisingly, Ms. Taylor responded to get over it and explained that she herself only had her job because of Mr. Dixon and that Ms. Faraji only had her job because Ms. Taylor requested her. She warned that Mr. Dixon could take both away. The complaint goes on. Ms. Faraji was terrified and then turned to her co-worker, Anonymous, to discuss the situation. Anonymous responded that Mr. Dixon was disgusting, that the entire situation was sick, that it wasn't shocking given Fox's culture, and that Ms. Faraji should remain quiet if she wanted to keep her job. As a single mother who needed the job to support her son, Ms. Faraji had no choice but to remain silent.
Damn.
So, by the way, that is one of the reasons why you might be saying, well, if all this happened, why didn't she file a lawsuit sooner? And we'll get into more of the allegations. But this is a reason. She needed the job.
Now, listen, when I look at this, and then I also cross-reference this, just let's say like the Cassie case or something like that, what I've always said and I've always maintained is that people with accusations such as Cassie that paint themselves as the victim, and then you go back and you look at the case and the things that they're saying and the evidence against them and the S workers that they hired, and I say women like Cassie created an environment where women are now less empowered to come forward if odd shit is happening around them or if they're being touched, what have you. Now, we haven't heard her particular testimony yet in front of jurors of her peers in the court of law. Nevertheless, but let's just theorize here. If Charlie Dixon was the Diddy, right, like less the domestic violence, then would that make Joy Taylor the Cassie, allowing for or not prohibiting a situation around her and in fact wanted it to continue to keep herself in a specific position, to keep the power, to keep the status, to be that anchor for those shows? Could it be? I don't know. I'll leave a question for y'all to be able to argue in the comment section.
Thing that I will think will come up in a potential lawsuit, a potential trial, if she's being grilled under cross-examination. Okay, moving forward. Later on in the complaint, Faraji claims that Taylor continued to use her sexuality to advance at the Fox company. And she did that by allegedly sleeping with Emmanuel Acho, a former football player turned commentator. So the lawsuit reads, quote, in approximately February 2020, Miss Taylor asked Miss Faraji to meet her for lunch in Beverly Hills. When Miss Faraji arrived, she found Miss Taylor with a man, Emmanuel Acho. Ms. Faraji didn't know Mr. Acho, but could tell that the two were romantically involved.
Just got done with rehearsal for the new show Speak, and I got to take a moment to shout out my co-host Joy Taylor. A woman, a black woman, daily show, sports. Do you all realize how hard it is to get into the position that she is in? So often there's misogyny and sexism running rampant in sports, and we don't even care what women have to say in sports. But Joy is not only in the position on television as a woman, as a black woman, but as an opinionist. So not just asking men what they think, but providing her own unique and distinct insight. It's hard to do, and Joy, you have done it. So congratulations. Looking forward to working with you, and hope y'all tune in 4:30 to 6 Eastern every day starting next week.
A few months after meeting Mr. Acho at the lunch, Ms. Faraji noticed him in the hallway while at work. Ms. Faraji later asked Ms. Taylor if Mr. Acho also worked at Fox. Ms. Taylor confirmed and explained that she wanted Mr. Acho to eventually recommend her on the show Speak for Yourself. Ms. Faraji became alarmed and warned Ms. Taylor that she should probably not sleep with Mr. Dixon and Mr. Acho at the same time, as Mr. Dixon is a very powerful man that may become very angry. Ms. Taylor told her not to worry about it. She explained that she was also now powerful, and once Mr. Dixon was no longer useful to her, she would follow through on her plan to tell the company that he forced himself on her. She would not allow herself to be forced out by Mr. Dixon like other women talent.
Oh, no, say it ain't so. So on top of being someone that would allegedly allow a situation like this, right, this perversion situation to take place, she was going to go back later and perpetrate false allegations against the man that went deep inside of her to get the position in the first place. Oh, this is a cold and sick world. Absolutely critically abhorrent work if this is proven true. If they can prove it true within a court of law, I really hope that no future executives would take her seriously enough to put on the team, knowing that she allegedly has the potential to allege that a man on the team or the executive team took advantage of her. Damn, that is so damn crazy. Let me get this off the screen right now and let's finish up. It is obvious to me that when I see Fox Sports has canceled the 3 different shows that were aligned to Charlie Dixon, what they're attempting to do is to remove any active participation that he would have had within the company that they're still earning revenue from, which then their audience would look at as a negative. And it's also clear to me that Joy Taylor probably knew what was going to happen for a long time now. So she's been planning this all out. You know, she's been working on that podcast that she's been working on. So probably none of this is a surprise to her. My guess is she will keep tremendously quiet in regards to all of this, which I think is probably smart. Quiet in regards to all of this until the day in court is achieved. But you guys already know I'm going to keep up with it as much as what I can and share as much information, because within this advent of the Me Too era, right, we'd be wild to think that there are not some men up on high that would take advantage of their power in effect to get what they want out of women. But the pendulum swung way too far. And it has swung so far that now being put into mainstream is the lies, the incentivization of women that will utilize their looks, that will utilize their mammary glands, that will utilize the nape of their ass to get what they want. And now it's not just hashtag Me Too, it's hashtag Men Too. Within this story right here, there's no winners. There's no damn losers. Well, I guess the only winner would be Faraji if she makes out with her lawsuit. But there is none. There's bad and evil on the side of both the man and the woman. But we have to keep accuracy here, because as long as we are accurate, we will get closer to the truth so that we can do some damage with it. All right, guys, drop me your questions, comments, concerns down up into the comment box down below. And I'll see you soon. Until next time, YouTube. Peace.
She belongs to the street.
Girl, don't hold my hand. You a mattress actress on the OnlyFans. Get your money, girl, but damn, how is that your only plan? What you gonna do when you get too old to strip and dance? Get up out your echo chamber. woman screaming, period, and yes, you a low down dirty woman if you try to get knocked up by a high value man.